Hey guys, it's CJ Goodspeed at Goodspeed Entertainment. This Sunday, March Madness, March 1st at Denham Springs, LM Lockhart Gym. You're gonna have Korey Konstantine taking on Pro Wrestling 225 heavyweight champion Gil Gracie in a match you do not want to miss. This is gonna be the biggest match in the history of Pro Wrestling 225. With me at this time is Korey Konstantine, the winner of Super Gold Rumble 4, and now the #1 contender for Pro Wrestling 225 Heavyweight Championship. How you doing today, Korey?
I'm great, Mr. Godspeed. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. Korey, you know, I've done several of these before. I don't know if you've seen them or not. Some people have, some people haven't. I like to kind of go back in a little bit of history with you before we get into the meat and potatoes of the interview here. Every wrestler's been trained by somebody and at some place. Who was you trained by and where?
Let's roll it back a bit. So we'll go back to June 2011. I started out at Ohio Valley Wrestling. Started out with Mr. Nick Dinsmore. You may know him as Eugene, Miss Wrestling 1 or 2. Doesn't matter. Outstanding. Can't recommend him enough. He's got a school now out in South Dakota. Shout out to Nick Dinsmore. From there, came back for a while, trained a bit with Rodney Mack and Jazz whenever they were down here over in Sunset. Bounced from there, went to Wildcat for a while, left there, and then went over to Elevate where I am now. Also training new minions of my own, and here we are today.
Wow, that's a heck of a little journey there. I gotta give that one to you. Well, we got that out the way. So now let's talk about a little bit of your history in 225. The first time I ever saw you would be at Super Gold 3, I believe. You was wrestling in what was called at that time a rematch, I believe, at Purple Haze. The Korey Konstantine we saw then and the Korey Konstantine we see now is not really the same Korey Konstantine in a way. You didn't mind taking, let's say, the shortcuts to get the job done?
Okay. I just haven't needed to now.
Okay.
Call it newfound confidence, call it motivation, call it not giving a bleep. I'm just going hard now, Mr. Goodspeed. That's it. It's the only difference. Just going harder, just enduring more. You know, you want to talk about a history, let's wind it back to 2017, okay? This is my time now. And the reason why is because, like I said, 2017, both knees, gone. Wheelchair, months, rehab, over a year. Come back. High ankle sprain, out again. Come back. Fractured heel, come back. Torn pec, come back. Concussion, come back. Gil Gracie's got his work cut out for him.
Definitely. Now, the one thing I'm worried about with all those past injuries, we all know Gil Gracie, of course, has the MMA background. He can pretty much do just about anything he wants to do in a ring. It is what I've seen of him my short time with Pro Wrestling 225. Are you concerned about any of these injuries, of him attacking those? Or I'm guessing that kind of happens in every match you've been in now?
Well, let's call it what it is. There's not much that hasn't already been affected, right?
That is true. That is true.
So, as far as Gil's concerned, you know, I'm not too worried about it. I'm ready for it. I'm expecting it, and I'll be, quite frankly, disappointed if he doesn't try to hurt me. Having said that, I went head-to-head with Steve Anthony. The exclamation point. Gil Gracie is the asterisk because of one Mr. Big Ramp who frankly bails him out of a lot of situations. So I'm not so much worried about his background. Not to say it isn't legitimate. Not to say he can't beat me with it. But it's the added bonus, the asterisk that is Big Ramp.
I'm glad you mentioned Big Ramp because I got my own little nickname for Ramp. I call him a con man.
Call it what it is.
Yeah, he definitely does not mind getting involved. He did it against when Purple Haze faced Gil. He did it when Wild Thing faced Gil. He's sure in the heck gonna do it when you face Gil. Because one thing I've noticed with you, Korey, and I guess I've been wanting to get together with you for a while now. You're not your typical wrestler. You're not your typical guy that goes into the ring and it's almost like you become. At times you just become a machine once you get in there. It's kind of like you walk out of that curtain, the music plays, you walk out, you go into like a transformation, and then you complete it whenever you stop, take the mask off, and then underneath you have your paint, but it's like you're transforming the whole time. And then when you get into the ring, I mean, you've done stuff in that ring I've never seen before. It's pretty amazing the stuff that you've done. And even when the deck is stacked against you and you're going down, you did it actually this last Pro Wrestling 225 show, Ascension. When I saw who you was facing, I was like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna see what Korey can do now, because the Nightmare Jeremiah is, I mean, he's so unorthodox, it's ridiculous. I mean, he is just. I mean, he brings the axe to the freaking ring. I mean, come on. But there was a moment in there where I thought you were down and out, and you just like somehow just got the energy to come back, and you took him out. Do you get that from just your innerness, or is it from the fans? How does that whole, take me from coming through the curtain to the ring to in the match?
Okay, so like you said, opponent walks to the ring, now it's me, right? Music hits. It's almost like a trance, right? So in some psychology, if you have, a certain metronome or something like that, you can flip somebody into a totally different state of mind. So let's call that the music, right? So bam, hits that music resonates with me. I've tied it to something, whether it's a memory, a feeling, emotion, it's whatever, it flips that switch for me. And so a lot of this comes from, frankly, wrongdoings that have come my way, right? So just really digging deeper into that. So now you kind of flip that switch, right? And you kind of get that, I don't want to call it a tick or whatever, but it's some kind of offbeat thing that happens within. Whether that's just me letting down all of my guard or whatever and just letting out who I actually am on the inside, it's hard to say exactly, as much as it's just a feeling to where, you leave your conscious state and you go to your subconscious, your subliminal, and it just flows from there. It's all just a feeling, and what am I going to do next? I don't know. It's very reactionary. So the mask comes off. Bam. Roll through under that bottom rope. Now we're there, we drop to our knees. You have your I don't want to call it intimidation, but basically saying, here I am, take your best shot.
I think it is intimidation to the guys, because they're not expecting somebody that's fixing to get ready to go into a battle to just go to their knees.
Yeah. So here I am, take your best shot. I've taken several from life. If you think you got a better one, lay it out. As it keeps going on, you just keep thinking back to, all the stuff that you've already overcome, and you're not going to let that hold you back. If you've already overcome so much and you've already been broken so many times, what is this person standing across from you really going to do? What's the worst they can possibly do if you've already been down and out so many times? Then you just take it back from there. You let them fire their best shot. If it doesn't work, you pick yourself back up and you throw everything, your whole body into it. And that's kind of what you saw there, right? I mean, I got up, he was beating me down, I dared him to hit me harder.
Yeah, I know.
If he didn't turn me inside out, he hit me harder, right?
I know. I thought that was it. After that clothesline, he folded you in half. Yeah. I mean, I was like, wow. I was like, okay, well.
He tried to hang me out to dry, just kind of being aware, pulled myself up, came back down, and, just started going to work on them. But it took me, 3 times going head first for halos for him to put the monster down. And even then, I mean, he damn near kicked out after 3.
Yeah.
It's just put the pedals to the floor and don't let up until the job's done.
Yeah. And whatever you're doing, you need to keep doing it because it is definitely working. You are on one of the hottest streaks that I've seen in a long time right now. Even before Super Gold, because Steve Anthony, he actually had to grab a handful of tights to keep you down. So I mean, it's a loss in the record books, but mentally, I don't look at it as a loss, because of what he did.
I can't agree more. I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, he's a hell of a competitor. I mean, he brought me to my limit. It's a shame that it had to come to that. I would have liked to have either been beaten fairly or beaten him squarely. Hell of a competitor, and I have no doubt in my mind that after Sunday, should the title come home with me, I'm laying it out straight out to him. I want to redo and I want to prove my worth because I know I'm as good or better.
Yes. You in the short bit of your career I've witnessed and covered, I've seen you come out to the ring to a lot of boos with some cheers. You've always had your following of the people that believe in you. Now it is just, I mean, I get brought back to a long time ago of the reaction you get when your music hits, and then you come out and the crowd just erupts for you. Like when you won Super Gold 4, that was just, I mean, I got chills. And I mean, you've been around in this longer than I have, and I was like, God, I don't know how he's keeping it together in that ring right now, because it was just, I mean, like I said, I got chills from that. But with that said, what I'm trying to get at is, you come out to the boos. When the first match I saw you against Purple Haze, the fans really wasn't behind you at all. How do you feel now? I mean, do you try now to put out a better vibe to the fans, since because they kind of organically got behind you? I mean, you did come out and save Purple one time, but I mean, even you had a backstage interview with him, and you basically told him the only reason I did that is so you'd be 100% when I face you again. Unfortunately, you got hurt, and that match was not able to happen. But I think right then is when the fans started turning to be on your side. As a person, as yourself, does that even matter to you? The fans being on your side or not on your side, or?
So, as you kind of put it out there already, right? You called it organic, right? You answer that question for me. What's changed?
It's, in my eyes, nothing, really. Nothing at all.
Nothing's changed, right?
No.
So it's an organic thing, and I don't want to say that maybe people aren't sleeping on me anymore or coming to their senses, but if nothing's changed, aside from who I'm standing across the ring from, then that's about as grassroots as it gets.
I will say this, the one thing I have noticed, I gotta correct myself, is you don't take the shortcuts as much as you used to. Now, you did tell me at the beginning of the interview that you haven't had to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to, maybe we go back then, right? You got to take shortcuts. You need some kind of momentum to get behind you. So if that's the case, then that's the case. And then, the momentum got behind me. Maybe I grew up a little bit more confidence and don't need them anymore.
Right.
So if that's something that the fans are appreciative of, then it's something I'll take notice of. But moving forward, am I going to say that if somebody else cheats, am I not going to cheat back? Absolutely not. You're damn right. I mean, Steve Anthony, maybe next time whenever we wrestle, maybe I pull your tights and I win. Who's to say? We'll get there.
Definitely. All right, we touched on you coming out saving Purple Haze. Then a turn of events happened at a event we had called Fallout. Jim Jordy coming off his loss from collision course against Mike White. Beautiful. There was a little bit of talk going around about he's going to have a new GM.
Sure.
Well, next thing you know, beautiful Bobby's in the ring with the mic saying he's the GM. Jordy comes out to confront him, and Bobby basically tells him, "I'm not getting out the ring. You come make me get out." Well, next thing we know, we see you behind Jordy. That actually shocked me because I had never really seen you come out besides the stuff with Purple, but just to come out and maybe, I mean, was you trying to protect GM Jordy? Was you just tired of hearing Bobby? What was going on that day?
So, beautiful Bobby back in the day, may or may not know. Obviously, it's a little bit different now. He and I were once a team, right? Brought me in. It was a big to-do. And then he dropped me like a sack of potatoes not too long after. You know, it was something as simple as like, "Oh, you didn't bring your pretentious scarf. You're not with us anymore."
Wow.
All right, cool. I'll remember that. Let's come fast forward, right? He's out there flapping his gums. I got nothing to do. I didn't have a match scheduled yet. Screw it. Let's go out there and see if he still wants to run it, whenever I'm standing across the ring from him.
Definitely. And that day you took care of business, for sure.
Yeah.
One match we're gonna flip to, because we kind of been jumping around, which is fine because we're covering everything we need to cover anyway. Which I think that's mostly what the audience wants to hear anyway. At Super Gold, you had an actual match before the Super Gold Rumble.
Yeah.
And I was actually kind of worried about this match because Rhett Thibodeau, in my book, he's a master of just about every move you can think of. The man.
There's nothing to sleep on.
No, he's not. He's not at all. He's like the technician of the Cajun Outlaws.
Sure.
I've called him that 100 times. I've called it to his face. I've told other people. What I was worried about was, first of all, could you take care of business that day against a guy like that? I'd never seen you wrestle against a guy with that much technical ability. Second is, I'm like, okay, well, after that match, how's he gonna do in the Super Gold? You know, in the Rumble. Take us with the Rhett match was. I will say this: I didn't see Rhett do a whole lot of stuff he usually does, trying to cheat.
Yeah.
But I'm just a spectator, so I really didn't see. He might have done something to you in the ring that I didn't notice. It was a great match, a great victory by you for sure. I mean, and then, like I said, later that night, you get the Super Gold Rumble win. Take us in that match with Rhett, because what was so great about this last year is you've wrestled so many different types of people. You know, and then you're fixing to be wrestling a guy totally different than everybody else. So we got the Steve Anthony. We talked about Jeremiah. How about Rhett? How do you prepare yourself to go against a guy that, okay, he can bring it. He knows how to manipulate and stuff like that. And I've never seen him mess up and cause himself to lose before.
I mean, you think about it like any good sports team, right? You don't play to your opponent's level, you play to your level.
Mm-hmm.
Red has it. You name it. He can fly, he can grapple, he can strike. He's got it all, man. But the thing is, we go back to Jeremiah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Been beaten down, you get beaten down. You get any semblance of an opportunity, and you have to take it. So it wasn't so much, was there a bit of hair pulling? Sure, I don't think he gouged my eyes or anything like that for once. But maybe he got a little bit overconfident at one point. He likes to do all this, his chopping things. That, don't get me wrong, that shit hurts.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure.
then when you step into it and you swing one back, to catch him off guard, and then that's kind of when the pendulum started to kind of swing around the other way. Is you wouldn't want to call it a mistake, but maybe he got a little arrogant, got a little cocky. That's kind of, I think, where I realized, all right, I think I can see what this guy's all about. Here's where I can swing it around, and I'm going to play to my strength, and I'm not worried about him.
What we've talked about different styles. What would you classify your style? I mean, because I haven't been able. I mean, I've seen you do technical. I've seen you brawl. I've seen you come off the top. I mean, you kind of. I mean, if anything, if anybody is as close to Rhett in Pro Wrestling 225, I would say you are.
Yeah.
Of everything that you can do. That's why I think it was such a great matchup. Also.
So I'm known as, the amalgamation, this persona of multiple personalities that all just kind of come together. Maybe you call it amalgamation style, maybe you just call it throw everything, use your whole body as a weapon, no regard for your own safety, just balls to the wall with it. By any means necessary. I have something tattooed on my side of it that says, I'll either find a way or I'll make one.
That's a story, I think, more like your whole career, but definitely what I've seen this last year.
Yeah.
You I mean, if there was an award Pro Wrestling 225 had for comeback guy of the year, I mean, hands down, I think you got that.
I'll just take the title instead.
I hear you. I'm with you on that. Speaking of the title, we talked about Ramp. Now, one guy that nobody talks about that's always seemed to be showing his face in most of Gil's matches here lately is the Pro Wrestling 225 Rookie of the Year, Chase Bell.
What about him?
Chase, I'm going to tell you, he's another guy out there that has all the tools that I've noticed. He has it. He has it. So now, I've heard in a past interview that you had on Last Match Standing. A shout out to those guys. Great podcast, guys. There'll be some information at the end of this for them.
Make yourself famous.
That's going to be interesting. Hopefully, I'll get to meet those guys at the next show. But they brought up Ramp. You brought up Ramp. Nobody's brought up Chase Bell. You don't just have Gil Gracie in the ring. You don't just have Big Ramp on the outside. You have Chase Bell, who comes from anywhere.
Sure.
I've seen him come from the crowd. I've seen him come from the back. Heck, I've even seen Ramp come from the crowd. He did that against Purple. He got thrown out of that one and then found out. I keep saying he stole the poor audience member their seat. How? I understand you can keep one eye on Gil, and you can know Ramp's back there because he's out there already. So you can work on that. The wild card here is Chase.
Okay. Here's the thing about Chase Bell. He's got it all. He's got all the tools, but I don't think that he's really smart enough to stick his nose in my business. I handled him pretty significantly in the Super Bowl Rumble.
Yes, I will say that. Yeah.
So, you want to come and you want to attack me from behind, just come on and come do it. Just get out the way. We'll get you your just due and get rid of you. So, when it comes to Chase Bell, strategy going in is just to take the lick and then give it right back to him.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I just...
But maybe, just maybe, I'll have something else up my sleeve to counter Mr. Chase Bell. Time will tell.
I have to tune in for that one, guys, because I know for a fact, I'm pretty sure he's not going to tell us that today. Let's kind of step away from the match with Gil. We're going to come back to it. When it's all said and done, you are a man. You are strictly flesh. You bleed just like everybody else. You definitely can get in people's heads. I've seen it. I've seen people, when you come out, they take notice of, wow, this guy's coming out. He's unhinged. He's slapping himself in the head. You know, it's, what am I going to do to this guy? The man, Korey Konstantine, when does he come out?
He drives to the show, and up until probably about the point the first brushstroke goes down in the face, he's present. Once that paint goes down, that's the start. That's where everything starts turning. The whole mentality starts to change. When does he come back out? After business is handled for the night. You know, you met him at Hooters that one time.
I have met him at Hooters that one time. Good guy. Good guy. He's definitely a good guy.
But I mean, it's you know, you're going in. It's combat. It's kill or be killed, and there's no room for any kind of sympathy or empathy or regular human emotion. You know, you're there. It's a war from start to finish, and you know, you want to tie it back to the difference. And you've seen me in the paint, right? The paint is twofold. So it's part of what am I feeling that day, but then again, it's also, I take little bits and pieces. I study the opponent, right? What are they made of? You know, like purple haze, you know, white, purple, green, you know, somewhat Mardi Gras, he's from New Orleans. My portrayal of, okay, what is he to me? Let me display. Steve Anthony, half Spartan, half exclamation point. So it's all these little subtleties that, you know, you start the paint process, the man Korey Konstantine goes away. Now it's me in their head dissecting them from the ground up. What are they made of? Who are they as a person? You bring that projection, call it a war paint, and now the intimidation starts as soon as that mask comes off, and the man Korey Konstantine is gone, long gone.
Yeah. He's definitely not in that ring. I can tell you from the Korey Konstantine, the man that I've sat across the table from and talked to the guy that's in that ring. That is two different people, yeah. And I think that scares other guys. I really do. I think that really works on them. And let's come back around to Gil. After you won, he tried to jump you in the ring. I don't think I've ever seen anybody. I've seen Gil jump people and they fight back. I've never seen anybody just turn around and look at Gil and basically forehead to forehead with him. There's a beautiful picture out there of that. You didn't strike him. You didn't back down. You didn't go after him. You just stood your ground. Was that a statement you was making, or?
This is a dare. Straight up.
Kind of like the same as when you drop to your knees.
100%. Throw your best shot. I'm right here. Now, if you throw it, just know that you got something coming back to you.
Right.
I think that at that particular point in time, I don't know if it was respect, I don't know if it was intimidation, I don't know if it was, you know, he had already had a hard-fought match against Purple Haze and he didn't want to, you know, jeopardize himself moving forward. But I dared him to jump and he didn't jump.
No,
I like that going into March Madness.
Yeah, I will say I think that is a kind of like you chalk up a small victory right there with that. Now, Korey, I'm gonna be honest with you.
You've been lying to me this whole time?
No, not totally. I have covered several of Gil's matches. When Wild Thing fought him, I had my doubts. When Purple Haze went up against him, I had doubts. I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you I had doubts, even with you. Even with everything I've seen you do this past year, it's still Gil Gracie.
Yeah.
I mean, he is still the man to beat in pro wrestling. He has been for a long time. Vordell took it off of him for a very short minute. Of course, Ramp got him into a three-way with Vordell and Blake, and then Guess who wins?
Yep.
Gil gets it back. It's not many times, there hadn't been much time that has passed in Pro Wrestling 225 that I think Gil Gracie hasn't had the strap around his waist. We've seen him take out Dan Severance. We've seen him take out Perp. We've seen him take out Wild Thing. We've seen him take out Vordell. We've seen him take out Christian Blake. Heck, we even saw him take out 3 former Pro Wrestling 225 champs in a 4-way. What does Korey Konstantine have, or what can Korey Konstantine do that those guys were not able to do?
He's got levels. And I'm not saying that these other competitors are single-faceted or aren't multifaceted, because clearly they did something right to get to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, by no means.
But I'm a student of the game, right? So whether or not the audience knows it, I'm usually right there on the other side of that curtain, and I'm watching everybody, everything that they do. The other ones who have already come and gone have a very standard style. You know what's coming at times whenever they start getting hot. Me, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. So how do you prepare for somebody who doesn't know what they're gonna do? Unpredictability is what I bring.
100% on that one with you. I definitely, if somebody would ask me that question, I would have basically had the same answer, because, I mean, nobody knows. Well, I mean, truthfully, nobody knows what you're going to do.
Right.
We've seen it from the whole thing of doing what you've done in the matches I've seen with Purple Haze, and you come out and save him, and then, you come out to Jordy's to rescue Jordy. Even if it wasn't something you meant to do, you still did it.
Yeah.
Korey, we're at the point now, we're fixing to wrap this up. I do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, training, and
I appreciate you bringing this lovely plant.
no problem. I brought that just for you. I've never had the plant before until you. This is what I usually do in all my interviews. I usually sit back and I was like, all right, the camera's yours. You say what you have to say to your fans and everything. I don't think I'm gonna do that with you. There's something a lot more going on come Sunday than your fans and everything. I've heard them. I know they love you. I've heard them scream. I've heard a little kid in there screaming louder than anybody else for you to get up. This is your chance. For the last time, I would say, I don't think you have anything else planned that you're going to be talking to before this match. Next time we see you, either you're going to be Pro Wrestling 225 Heavyweight Champion or another victim of Gil Gracie. This is your chance for the last time until then to tell Gil Gracie what's on your mind, what you have to say. I'm actually going to step away. I'm going to let you center yourself to the camera. This is all you, babe. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Gil Gracie, I take nothing away from you. Nothing at all. Celebrated fighter, legit as can be. But let me tell you this, while I take nothing from you now, I'm taking everything from you come Sunday. So you better bring everything that you have, because you're getting everything that I have, and you're gonna have to kill me to stop me.
From Baton Rouge to Black man to New Orleans and back again, I see my people say, hey.